Hello, my name is Andre Parks. I'm a student at Moody. My professor's name is Dr. Greg Gifford. And today I'm going to be talking about Romans 6:16. Paul uses in his letters a lot of metaphors, and the one we're going to be looking at today is slave. So what I would like to do first is read this verse for you. Do you know that if you present yourselves to anyone as an obedient slave, you are the slaves of the one you obey, either sin, which leads to death, or obedient, which leads to righteousness. See, I don't believe Paul was talking about the same slaves that we in my culture or here in America think about, the slaves that are brought over on slave ships. I really think Paul was talking about the slave that was really either were in slavery because they needed to pay off a debt, or they're in slavery because they wanted to get citizenship, or slavery for paying. A lot of times the parents would put their kids as slaves to pay off a debt. Either way it goes, the bottom line is that slave was really considered part of the whole culture because they were brought in and they were from the same race, and a lot of times, because Rome had such an open type of society, they were open to religion, their religious beliefs, so it really wasn't any different. But yet, so when Paul uses the word slavery, when he says you're either slave to sin or slave to obedience, he's talking about that type of slave, one that wants to be the one that is not there out of persecution, even though sometimes these slaves did come after a war, but yet they could obtain their freedom. They weren't treated like chattel. They weren't treated like property. They were given positions of power a lot of times because they represented royalty. These type of slaves were the type of slaves that Paul was talking about. And if you were to look at Paul's letter, you would realize that when he uses the word slavery, which in the Greek it's called doulos, and it's 122 times actually 130 times in 120 verses in the Greek concordance. And this word doulos, slave, is the type of slave that we want to be. And if we are, and if you have been called to Christ, my question to you is, are you an obedient slave